the last session of chapter 11. Krishna willing.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapad Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamam Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So here we begin with the quiz Gita Rewind, which is based on the last session. Here we are sharing with you. Kindly read the questions and mark the appropriate answer. I have not marked your attendance, kindly mark your attendance. And here is the result of the quiz. Question number 1, Krishna's form that Arjuna sees is unlimited, is blazing like sun, has all living entities in one place. So D is the correct answer. All of the above.
Real happiness is becoming an instrument in Krishna's hand. That is the right answer.
Moths dashing to destruction in a blazing fire is compared to all the soldiers entering Krishna's mouth. So there were two analogies given, one of all the rivers rushing towards the ocean, and second, the moth dashing towards the blazing fire.
So option B is the right answer. Question 4. Arjuna is convinced of Krishna's supremacy as he is the ultimate resting place of all universes. That's right. The maintainer of the eternal religion, yes. Inexhaustible and oldest, yes. So all of the above is the right answer.
Question 5. Arjun rejoiced seeing Krishna's universal form. So Arjun was trembling, Arjun was disturbed, Arjun was perplexed, but he did not rejoice. So the correct answer is false.
Question 6. Krishna instructs Arjuna to become an instrument, and that is true.
Question number 7. The mission of the Lord as time is to protect all the people in the world. And here we have quite a few of you who consider this is true, like majority, 64% of you have marked it true, but the answer is false because Lord's mission as time is to destroy all, not to protect all.
And that is what we see in this material world actually. Question 8. All the demigods surrendered and prayed seeking Krishna's universal form. All the demigods surrendered and prayed seeing Krishna's universal form, and that is absolutely true.
Great going. So here we begin ahead with chapter number 11. We were in the third section where we were discussing about prayers of Arjuna. We have completed till verse number 34 and we will continue from verse 35. Sanjay uvāca etat krutva vachanam keshavasya kritāñjalirvepamānah kirīti namaskritva bhūya evaha krishnam sagadgadam bhītah pranamya. Sanjay said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjun offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows. So Sanjay is giving the commentary to Dhritarashtra as what is happening on the battlefield, and he is describing that how Arjun was very scared, how he was trembling, and because of his confusion and fear, he was offering obeisances again and again, and he started praying to Krishna. And his voice is described as he had a faltering voice. So here is a description that how Arjun was behaving not as Krishna's friend. Now he has seen the universal form of Krishna, and so the feeling of friendliness is gone. And here is a devotee who's stuck in wonder, and when he sees the Supreme Lord in this magnanimous, astounding form, so he is trembling, he has folded hands, repeatedly offering obeisances, fearful and faltered voice. So in this state, actually, Arjun begins to offer prayer as a devotee, not as a friend, as a devotee who's wonderstruck.
So there are four aspects of Arjuna's prayers. One is glorification. Then he offers his obeisances, he offers his apologies, and finally makes a request. So these are the four parts of prayers of Arjuna. Even in that wonderstruck stage, Arjuna goes through these four stages of prayer. So it is very good. I mean, this, if you want, you can take a screenshot. Our offering, our prayers can also be modeled on this.
So let's hear how he first starts glorifying Krishna.
So that is in 3 verses.
Arjun uvāca Ane rishikesha tava prakritya jagat praharshyati anurajyate cha
Rakshamsi bhitani disho dravanti sarve namasyanti cha siddha sangha. So Arjuna has begun to glorify Krishna. These verses from 36, 37, 38. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. So we see that here Arjuna is mentioning, one, he's using the word Hrishikesh, that, O Lord, you are the master of our senses. And then he's saying that when devotees, they chant your holy names, when they glorify you, when they do sankirtan, so then what happens? They become joyful. So there are two effects of chanting the Lord's holy name, chanting Lord's glories. One, the world becomes joyful, and second, that develops attachment to you. That is how we can develop attachment to Krishna, and that's why we have so much of focus on japa. And then what else Arjuna is saying? Arjuna is observing this. Arjuna is observing that these personalities from the higher planets, there are two types of them. One, they are offering obeisances, they're offering respects, they're offering their prayers. So he's saying perfected beings offer you their respectful homage. So that is what he's able to observe. And at the same time, he's observing that these Rakshasas who's there, those who are oriented against the Supreme Lord, against the devotees of the Lord, what is their reaction on seeing this universal form? So he's saying Rakshamsi bhitani. They're afraid and they're running in different directions. And Arjuna is saying that that is very rightly done. So let's look at, yes, so Krishna pleasing and ferocious form attracts the devotees and repulses the frightened demons. And Arjuna is saying that is rightly done, and we can understand that why this is rightly done, because Krishna reciprocates perfectly with everyone in this material world. Those who are devotees, Krishna reciprocates. So the devotees are awestruck, wonderstruck, and they naturally feel that we must surrender to this very powerful exhibition of Lord's opulences. And the demons who are envious of the Lord, they become frightened. So that is why Arjuna is saying that their behavior is rightly
So like
whatever
here,
Krishna is doing, that is rightly done.
So like here we see in this beautiful picture Kaliya's hoods. So now we understand that we all constantly we pray to attain the lotus feet of Krishna. We want to have some charandhuli, the dust from the lotus feet of Krishna. Now Kaliya is receiving all that. And not only that, Krishna is actually dancing. He has become a stage for Krishna's performance. Krishna is dancing there on Kaliya's head. But because Kaliya is a demon, how is he feeling at that time? So Kaliya, like here it is mentioned that the same Krishna, the devotees become attracted to him and the demons are repulsed and they are frightened. So for Kaliya, Krishna was death personified. Kaliya was so scared while Krishna was dancing on his hoods, on his various hoods, jumping from one to other, and that is why Krishna has this name Nataraj, because he is a super excellent dancer. So seeing that the devotees were rejoicing, but not the demon. So same Krishna, but the impact is different on the devotees and on the demons.
So here the word used Hrishikesh, that Krishna is Hrishikesh. So one who has faith in the Lord, Krishna attracts his senses towards him. And one who has no faith, in fact, he's envious of Krishna. So Krishna makes arrangement that their senses are repulsed by him. So that's why you will see that these are the two types of people in this world. Sometimes because we may think, Krishna is Supreme Lord, then why everybody is not worshipping him? Well, not everybody has faith in him. So some people are attracted, some people are repulsed. So this also we saw in this particular verse. Arjuna is clarifying that effects of Sankirtan. One, it brings joy, and second, it brings attachment to the Supreme Lord.
Attraction to or repulsion from something or someone is a reflection of one's own self, The world is my mirror. So I become attracted to people who are like me. That is a very common sense understanding also, that those who are like me, I become attracted to them, and those who are unlike me, I'm aversive to them, or I want to maintain distance from them. So what is happening is a type of people whom I find myself getting attracted to, actually that is my own inner self also. So if I have those devotional qualities, then I will automatically get attracted towards Krishna. And if I am not, then I would find Krishna, like I would be scared of Krishna, and I may want to stay away from
Or find
Krishna.
mistakes with him.
Or we find mistakes with Krishna, yes.
Krishna's actions are equally good for all. So Krishna is perfect in his reciprocation with the devatas and with the demons. Krishna's actions are equally good for all. He is not partial or biased.
And that is what Arjun was praising in that word, that was that demon or devotee, Krishna is neutral. Kashma chatena nameran mahatman gariyase brahmanopyadikartre ananta devesha jagan nivasa tvam aksharam sadasattat param yat. O great one, even greater than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you? O limitless one, O God of gods, refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. So here various qualities are mentioned. Krishna's glorification is going on by Arjun. So first thing what he's pointing out is that you are the source of Brahma. You are the original creator. So you are greater than Brahma also. So we know Brahma is the secondary creator. Brahma has created everything what we look around us, but Brahma himself was created by Krishna. So he's saying that you are the original creator. And then he's saying, so of course they have to offer obeisances to you because you are the one who's the source of everything. And then he says, you are limitless. There is no adi, no ant to you. You are limitless. And you are God of gods, which means that everybody else is demigod, though devatas also. So you are God of those devatas. And you are the refuge of the universe. So even if when devatas are under some difficult situation, there are various such situations mentioned in the scriptures, when devatas find that the atrocities of demons are increasing so much, and then they rush towards the Supreme Lord Krishna. So he's calling him by saying that you are the refuge of the universe. And then he says you are invincible source, the cause of all causes, and transcendental to this material manifestation. So this material world where we are living, which is controlled by Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun, Krishna is actually beyond these gunas. And that is why he is transcendental to this material rules and regulations, whatever are there. So he's greater because he's creator of Brahma. And some say Krishna is Hindu god. But here Arjuna is clarifying that you are God of all gods. You are the refuge of everyone, because this is a spiritual, eternal statement what is mentioned here. Nobody is greater than Krishna.
So Arjuna is mentioning 8 qualities of God here. So when we talk about God, there are so many qualities of God, and here in this verse, Arjuna enumerates 8 qualities, and so he would do in the next verse as well. So Krishna is worshipable by all. He's Aksharam. He's not perishable like material creation. Material creation has a beginning, has some time when it remains, and then it becomes unmanifest, or it destroys. So, but Krishna is not like that. He's Aksharam. He's beyond this creation and destruction. Mahatma, in the first line itself, Arjuna is calling Krishna Mahatma, most magnanimous and unlimited. Mahatma as a word has many meanings, and it also is a glorification of the Lord. Anant, there is nothing in this entire universe and beyond which is not under the control of the Supreme Lord, or under his influence, or not comprising of his energy. So whether it is material world or it is spiritual world, everything is under Lord's influence, and it is manifested by Lord's energy and his devesh. As Sugita is explaining here, Arjuna is describing that you are the controller of all devatas. That is what he practically saw in the universal form of the Lord. So Bhagavad Gita gives a complete explanation of the word God. So a dictionary cannot explain God, because God has to be properly and appropriately defined, and Bhagavad Gita is the actual dictionary from which we get a complete explanation of the word God.
Tvamādidevah purushah puranas Tvamasya vishwasya paramam nidhanam Vetasi vedyam cha param cha dhama Tvaya tatam vishwamanantarupa.
You are the original personality of Godhead. Tvam Adi Deva. Personality Purusha. Adi Deva Purusha. You are the original personality of Godhead. Puranas. You are the oldest. Tvamasya Vishwasya Param Nidhanam. You are the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything. And you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge above the material modes, O limitless form. This whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. So even at this point in time, the whole universal form is still visible. And Arjuna is addressing to the Lord, he is glorifying the Lord, and in this glorification, you can see that he's practically seeing this all around him, and based on this, he's glorifying Krishna. So this also is composed of the 8 qualities. So among many qualities, Krishna is the ultimate shelter of everything. Ultimately, everything rests in Krishna. So here we have this very wonderful pastime. We discussed this in the beginning of the 11th chapter also, that how Krishna was accused of eating mud by his friends, and even his brother Balaram and mother Yashoda was very upset with this, because she spent a lot of time and energy, and out of her love and affection and concern for Krishna, she makes very nice sweets, and she's wondering what taste is there in this mud, why this boy is eating mud. Of all things, he will fall sick. So he asks him, and he said, no mother, I have not eaten, they're just lying. And you want to check? And Mother Yashoda said, yes, I want to check, I want you to see, open your mouth. And then Krishna opens his mouth, and this is astounding. Mother Yashoda could see within the small baby mouth of Krishna the entire universe. There's a whole description in Srimad Bhagavatam what all she could see. She could see the elements, she could see so many things. And then she looked a little further and she saw herself. She saw Vrindavan. She saw herself. She saw herself looking into the mouth of Krishna. Now, Krishna is the mouth of Krishna. So, it is, so that's how we know from scriptures, we know from Bhagavad Gita, which is spoken by Lord himself, and we see a practical demonstration in this universal form, and the universal form Krishna exhibited earlier to Mother Yashoda, that how he is the ultimate rest of everything.
Moving to the next 2 sections, where Arjuna would be offering his obeisances to Krishna. Vayuryamognir varunah shashankah Prajapatistvam prapitamahascha Namo namaste tu sahasrakritva Punascha bhuyopi namo namaste. You are air and you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times and again and yet again. So standing in front of Arjun was the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his supremely opulent form. So whatever he could see, actually he could see everything as Krishna at this time. So that is how he is referring to various things like air and controller and fire and water and moon and Brahma and living creature and great grandfather. So because Brahma is created by him, so again he becomes the great grandfather. So like that, everything he refers, and then finally what he says, that I offer my respectful obeisances unto you How many times? Not one, not two, not 10, not 100, but 1,000 times, and yet again. So countless obeisances to this wonderful form of the Supreme Lord.
So from here we can understand that how awestruck, and rightly so, he's so astonished, and Arjuna is offering. I mean, he feels that there's nothing else that he should be doing at this time, but except offering his obeisances to this beyond words most majestic display of Lord's power in the material world. That how the major manifestations of this, like air is supposed to be all pervading, and so all the major representations Arjuna could see is actually all coming from the Supreme Lord.
Namah purastadath pratashte Namostute sarvata eva sarva Anantaviryamitavekramastvam Sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha.
Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbound power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading, and thus you are everything. Tatosi sarvaha. Tata asi sarvaha. Thus you are everything. So this is all, offering of obeisances by Arjuna. He's saying, I'm offering from front, from behind, from all sides. Oh, unbound power. There is, maybe we should, go through 11th chapter once more and just experience this. Krishna, in one of the previous chapters, he said that what is there to tell you about my opulence? It just comes from a spark of my splendor. So this entire universal form is manifested from a spark of Krishna's splendor. And that spark is being observed by Arjuna, and this is his reaction. He's saying, oh unbound power, oh master of limitless might, you're all pervading. And this is his complete realization, Arjuna's complete realization. You actually are everything. You are the basis of everything. Based on you only, everything becomes manifest and unmanifest. So this shows that how much ecstasy is experienced by Arjuna. So obeisances from all sides are in loving ecstasy by Arjuna. You are the air. As I was explaining, that air being all pervasive is the most important representation among the devatas. You are fire, water, moon. So all the prominent devatas are representations of the Supreme Lord. You are Brahma. Why? Because Brahma is called Pitamaha. And here Arjuna refers to him as Para Pitamaha. Because in one of the way back in the beginning of this description, Arjuna explains that I can see Brahma, and then he says I can see the serpents also. So he could see that how Brahma is come from the Supreme Lord. So that's why Lord is Para Pitamaha, and you are the Supreme. Sorry, Prapitamaha. So you are the supreme controller. So it is not just any longer just theoretical understanding, or this is completely in front of him. This is just happening right in front of Arjuna, and of course by going through the 11th chapter is happening right in front of us as well. And naturally a person may come to this point of asking apology that, Lord, even in our case, Lord, we have ignored you how long? Even in this life, I have just taken up Krishna consciousness. I have neglected you in this life. I neglected you in previous lifetimes. So many lifetimes I've just ignored you, although you have been traveling with me as Paramatma. So naturally, if I have this realization, then naturally apology is a very natural thing to come.
Sakheti matva prasabham yaduktam He Krishna, He Yadava, He Sakheti Ajanata Mahimanam Tavedam Maya Pramada Pranayena Vapi यच्चावहासार्थमसत्कृतोऽसि विहारशय्यासनभोजनेषु एकोऽथवापि अच्युत तत्समक्षम् तत्क्षम्ये त्वम् अहमप्रमेयम्. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. So when we become friend, then we actually tend to become casual. The relationship becomes very casual. And then when we are in that particular relationship, and then the formalities are not there, and then the chances are there that we may speak or do things not necessarily to offend the other person, but not knowing the glories of the other person. So here Arjuna is realizing the same thing. He is remembering his relationship with Krishna, and he is asking forgiveness for many informal gestures which would have happened in the past, because he considered Krishna as his friend. So Krishna, not knowing the opulences of Krishna, not knowing the power of Krishna, he would have actually dishonored or disrespected Krishna. But Krishna is actually very, very kind. And so he took this position of the friends of Arjuna, like he wanted to be Arjuna's friend, and he was very happy. So there have been, like if we read Srimad Bhagavatam, so there have been many loving reciprocation between between Krishna and Arjun. And not only Krishna and Arjun, but Krishna reciprocates with each of his devotees very sweetly and uniquely. So Arjun is realizing all that, and he is telling that maybe from his side he would have committed a lot of mistakes or a lot of offenses which otherwise he wouldn't have done if he would have known Krishna as the Supreme Lord. But he thought Krishna is Yadava, or my dear friend Sakha Yadava, like that he would call him. So he's asking forgiveness for all those times. And so he's giving a generic statement that forgive all my offenses. In fact, we read in the verse that he says that I would have committed a lot of offenses in madness or in love. So he's saying, I was so much in love with you, and I became so closely connected with you that I would have done some offenses also. Pitasi lokasya characharasya Tvamastya pujyascha gururgariyan Natvat samosti adhyadhikah kutonyo Lokatrayepi apritima prabhava.
You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and the non-moving. Pitasi lokasya characharasya. So you are you manifest this complete manifestation, cosmic manifestation with moving and non-moving living entities. You are its worshipable chief. Tvam asya pujasya cha gurur gariyan. You are the supreme spiritual master. So of course we understand that how, if we go through Bhagavad Gita as it is, we can see the Guru Shishya Parampara, and it starts from Krishna. This knowledge of God, of this universe, of ourselves is not possible to know on our own unless God gives us this knowledge. That's why scriptures are most important. We cannot know something, things like that. We are not this body, we are spirit soul. We see that science has not been able to approach this subject. So anything which is beyond our senses is impossible to gain. So soul is beyond the approach of these senses. God is beyond the reach of our senses. Our mind and intelligence is beyond, we cannot approach and this entire universe also. So that is why we need this knowledge from higher source. And that's why Shabda is considered so important in Vedic system, that we receive this knowledge. So Krishna and Vedas are considered non-different. So Krishna gave this knowledge to Brahma, and that's how we are receiving it today in 2022. So Krishna is the supreme spiritual master. No one is greater than you, nor can anyone be one with you So this is again, I mean, you are the top boss, and no one can be one with you. We cannot equate. Sometimes we have this, we commit a mistake in saying, people talk about Hindu Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and they consider that all of them are same, they have the same powers, they're same whatever, or they're one, or so many things, there are so many speculations about understanding. But here, Arjuna is saying, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds? O Lord of immeasurable power. So these prayers are very nice. We can read them and we will become very, very fixed up in our devotional life. So Krishna's incomparable powers, you are Supreme Father, you are worshipable Chief, you are Supreme Spiritual Master, of course, of Brahma. And here in Bhagavad Gita, he is directly the spiritual master of Arjuna. In fact, in second chapter, Arjuna formally accepts, he speaks this, that I request you to teach me. I request you to guide me and instruct me. I become your disciple now. Please accept me. So formally, Arjuna accepts Krishna as a spiritual master. So he is spiritual master, not just Arjuna, but of the entire universe. And very, very fortunate that somehow or other we got connected to this bona fide Guru Parampara, and Krishna is greatest of all.
A spiritual master is bona fide only if he comes in disciplic succession of Krishna. It's a very, very important point. Prabhupada is reminding us that anybody, I mean, we may receive instruction from so many people, but we must not follow or act on it unless that person comes in a bona fide Guru Shishya Parampara. Ekale Ishwar Krishna ar sab bhritya. Only Krishna is God and everyone else is his servant. So this is again very strongly being established in the current verses, especially which Arjuna is reciting, and he's telling that how he's a refuge of everyone, he's a shelter of everyone, he's the protector of everyone, he's the creator of everyone. So he is God and everyone else is his servant. Tasmat pranamya pranidhyaya kayam prasadaye tvamaham ishamaidhyam piteva putrasya sakheva sakhyo priyah priyayarhasi deva shodhum. You are the Supreme Lord to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impertinence of a friend, or a husband the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. So here he is in detail, he is asking forgiveness. He is mentioning various relationships. And he's telling, like, father tolerates the son, or friend tolerate the other friend, or sometimes because the husband-wife relationship is so intimate that the wife says something and the husband does not feel bad or he does not get offended because he understands it is not that the wife is respecting him any less, but because of the familiarity or because of the relationship, she is speaking something like that. So they all tolerate the other person even if the other person does some wrong. So reminding all those things, Arjuna is telling Krishna, so similarly, I may have offended you and I am asking you for your mercy. So please tolerate me like a father, like a friend, like a husband. So please tolerate me, and I may have been rude to you, I may not have shown respect to you, but all that was because of my proximity, my closeness with you. And that is because of all that was arising because of my love for you. I was thinking you as my friend. So I may have committed certain things which may sound rude or not so disrespectful, but that was not the intention. A variety of relationships can be experienced with the Supreme Lord. So if we read Nectar of Devotion, there is a description of how there are different type of rasas or relationship, 5 primary rasa and 7 secondary rasa or relationship which one can experience with the Supreme Lord. So here one such amazing relationship of friendship is being experienced till the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, and the other relationship of a guru and a disciple is being discussed now. So similarly, one can establish different type of relationship or experience different type of relationship with Krishna. And here is another very interesting life lesson which we were reminded while we were reading this particular verse, because Arjuna was talking about so many relationships and specifically about husband and wife. So here is the life lesson. Mate for each other does not exist. We have to make ourselves for each other. The success of relationship lies in tolerance. So how much we tolerate each other, how much we sacrifice for each other or compromise where all we compromise. And that is how we make ourselves a perfect fit for each other.
Very good one. So next we come to the requests. So we saw glorification. After glorification, we saw obeisances. Then we saw seeking forgiveness. And finally, we are seeing the requests being made by Arjuna. So 45, 46. Please understand, at this stage also the universal form is still visible to Arjuna. And all this is happening in that situation.
Adrishtapurvam rishtitosmi drishtva bhayena cha pravyathitam mano me tadeva me darshaya deva rupam prasida devesha jagannivasa.
After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time my mind is disturbed with fear. Adrishtapurvam, which I have never seen before. I am gladdened, but my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe. So here Arjuna begins to request Krishna that please you withdraw this terrifying form of yours of universal form. And please reveal again that form of yours as Bhagavan. So this is what Arjuna is requesting. And so we'll continue with the second part of his request.
Kiridam gadinam chakrahastam ichchami tvam dreshtumaham tathaiva tenaiva rupena chaturbhujena sahasrabaho bhava vishwamurte. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see in you your four-armed form with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch and lotus in your hands. I long to see you in that form. So initially he was longing to see the universal form, and he sees universal form and he's so disturbed and petrified that now he's telling that please remove this form. And now what is the request Arjuna is making? So in the 45th verse, he was making a request to remove that form. And here he's telling that now he wants to see the four-armed form of the Supreme Lord. So he's happy yet frightened. And Krishna would reveal his four-armed form now. So getting into the last section of chapter 11, verse 47 to 55, the armed form.
So 47, 48, 49, rarity of seeing Krishna's universal form.
Shri Bhagavan uvāca maya prasannena tava arjunedam rupam param darshitam atma yogat tejomayam vishwamanantamadhyam yanme tvadanyena na drishtva purvam.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, happily have I shown you by my internal potency this supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you have ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence. So because Krishna is merciful to Arjuna, Arjuna saw the universal form. At the same time, the residents of the higher planetary systems could also see this universal form. Surprisingly, the others most of the other people present on the battlefield of Kurukshetra could not see this. This universal form was not visible to them. So this is so surprising. The same battlefield, Arjuna's witnessing, and he's seeing it everywhere. Higher planetary system, a personality is seeing, but others on the battlefield, they're not able to see. And sometimes people say that this universal form which is being shown to Arjuna here is the same form that Krishna showed in the court of Dhritarashtra, in the palace of Dhritarashtra, but that is not correct. Because here Krishna himself is saying, no one before you has ever seen this primal form. So Krishna showed his universal form when he went to meet
Duryodhan.
He went to meet Duryodhan's father, Dhritarashtra. So he went to meet Dhritarashtra as Shanti Doot. So that time also he showed universal form, but it was not this one.
Na veda yajnadhyayanair na danair na cha kriyabhir na tapobhirugrai evam rupah shakya aham riloke drishtum tvadanyena kuru pravira. So he's calling Arjuna Kuru Pravira, or the best of Kuru warriors. And then he is saying, Na Veda, Na Yagya, Na Danair, Na Kriyabhir, Na Tapobhir. So he's saying, not by this, not by this, not by this. So he's saying, no one ever before you has seen this universal form of mine, for neither by studying the Vedas, na Veda, nor by performing sacrifices, yagya adi yagyair, nor by charity or danair, nor by pious activity, nor by severe penances can I be seen in this form in the material world. So if a person feels that if I'll perform lot of sacrifices or charity or austerity or read the scriptures and I'll be able to see this universal form, Krishna is saying it is not possible. So Krishna here he is actually now withdrawing his universal form, and he is informing Arjun that these are not the ways to see the universal form.
So there are many people in our present times, they claim to be God. Media refers to them as God-men. They claim themselves as God. So both are foolish. Those who claim they are God and those who follow such people are also foolish. So, so this cannot be done. I mean, especially if you go through chapter 11, we understand, what God means. It is not a cheap word that anyone says, yeah, now I'm God, now everybody should accept me as God. And foolish people also, without having knowledge, they accept, some magic, some miracle they will do, and based on that alone they will claim themselves as Supreme Lord. So chapter 11 that way is a very profound chapter. We can, at least for our own sake, we can save ourselves, we can protect ourselves against such false incarnations. So no one has ever seen this form, as this cannot be seen by studying of the Vedas, performing sacrifices, charity, pious activities, and severe penances. Can only be seen by divine vision, which Krishna bestowed on Arjuna. Arjuna could not see it on his own, but Krishna said, I'll give you that divine vision. And why did Krishna give that to him? Because Arjuna was his, again and again, Krishna repeats, you, because you're my very dear friend, because you're my very nice devotee, you love me, you have affection for me. So many times Krishna repeats this point, and because of that, Krishna bestows this divine vision on Arjuna. So it is acquired only by devotional service, and otherwise it is not possible.
One cannot have the divine vision without becoming divine. So if I do not have feelings of devotion for Krishna, then I would never become eligible to have the divine vision to see this divine form of Krishna.
When an ordinary person claims to be God, he is not God, but a dog. If you see, God and dog has same letters, but in the opposite order.
Mate vyatha macha vimudha bhavo drishtva rupam ghoram nitrinmadam vyapeta bhiprita mana
Tvam Tadeva Me Rupamidam Prapashya.
You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. So Arjun was very perturbed and scared, and that is why Krishna withdraws his universal form, and he tells that, and yes, and Arjun specifically requests also. So Krishna withdraws that form, and he says, "Now let this be finished," and he comes back to the other form. So we will see in the next verse which form he acquires next. So there was a purpose of universal form. Arjun wanted to see that form, and moreover, Krishna wanted to show him that all these people are already killed by Krishna, and Arjun can become a nimitta. He can become an instrument in fulfilling the desire of Krishna or the mission of Krishna. So now it was achieved, and Krishna withdraws that form. Sanjay uvāca iti arjunam vasudeva satokva swakam rupam darshyamasa bhuya ashvasayamasa chaditamenam bhutva punah saumya vapur mahatma.
Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra. So I hope all of us remember that Sanjaya is describing the events to Dhritarashtra. That's how we, way back in the beginning of the first chapter, we saw Dhritarashtra Vacha, and then Dhritarashtra was asking Dhritarashtra was asking Sanjay, and then Sanjay begins to describe. So again, coming back, Sanjay said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. So here this word is very important, which is mentioned in the last line, Saumya Vapur. So Saumya Vapur means the most beautiful form. So Arjuna was very disturbed and frightened and terrified seeing that unbound power in the form of that universal form, and he wanted to see that beautiful form of the Lord. So Krishna obliged again. First he obliged for showing the universal form, then withdrew it, and then now the four-handed form, and then finally showed him two-handed form, the one which Arjuna was used to.
Arjunuvacha drishtvedam manusham rupam tava saumyam janardana idanimasmi samvrittah sachetah prakritim gatah. When Arjun thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, "O Janardhan, seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind and I am restored to my original nature." And we can see the Shloka has also restored to its original meter, because Arjun is restored to his original nature. So now he is seeing the human-like form, the two-handed form of Krishna. And he is saying that this form is so very beautiful.
So here also this point Arjuna is making, Manusham Rupam Tava Saumyam. So Krishna has a human-like form. He's not a human. He has a human-like form. So that is something that we need to understand and remember.
So Krishna revealed four-handed and finally two-handed form. The two-handed form is most pleasing to the devotee, or Saumya Vapu, very pleasing. Majestic universal form is distasteful to the eyes and mind of devotees. Just like how we see Arjun, he was not very pleased by the universal form. And Krishna's sweetness is more attractive than his opulences. So what was happening in universal form is Krishna was exhibiting all his opulences. And the sweet form of Krishna is like when he becomes just like one of the cowherd boys. So that is sweetness personified. That is that form which Srimati Radharani connects to, or the gopis of Vrindavan, or the gopas of Vrindavan, or Nanda and Yashoda they connect to. So that form is much more attractive than his opulent form. And the final verses of this chapter, conclusion or glory of Krishna's personal form and bhakti. Shri Bhagavan uvāca Sudurdarsham idam rupam
Drishtvanasi yanmama deva piyasya rupasya nityam darshana kamshinaha naham vedairna tapasa danena chejaya shakya evam vidho drishtum drishtvanasi mam yatha. So here Krishna begins to speak, and therefore it is not mentioned Krishna uvāca, it is mentioned Sri Bhagavan uvāca, the Supreme Personality of Godhead spoke. And what did he say? Sudurdarsham. This form, the two-handed form Krishna is saying, is very, very rare. Durdarsham means very difficult to see. Sudursham means very, very difficult, very, very rare to see. But why is Krishna showing this form to Arjuna? Because Arjuna is an Ananya devotee, or a pure devotee of the Lord. And then towards the second part of towards the next verse, 53rd verse, we see that na ham vede. So again, this point Krishna is making, that it is not just by study of the Vedas or by performing tapasya or by giving charity, dan, or by worshipping him, na chejaya, can I be seen. So this point has come repeatedly here. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. So first he said that for the universal form, and now when Arjuna has requested him to show his four-handed form and then two-handed form, Arjuna is saying, not be understood simply by studying the Vedas, not by undergoing serious penances, not by charity.